过去的辉煌从不是压力的枷锁，未达的巅峰反而促使我们不断前行。
老队友的告别让我背负更多渴望，再度崛起的夏天只是这段征程的开始。
RNG这边能不能利用好这个机会？剩2个人进场要秒决赛，差一个，哎，这个局面又不好说了。
因为我知道，
还有更高的舞台等着我们去一展拳脚。
春季赛和洲际赛的结果对我们来说是苦涩和遗憾的，
但只有经历过成长路上的坎坷，才能品味收获成熟时的喜悦。
这一次我们不会让机会从手中溜走。
边压左哈赛，继续哈赛，一个哈赛又打断了，
滑起来了呀！
这一次我们要让世界知道我们的名字。这一次我们准备好了。
It's time for another semi-finals here in the LPL Summer 2019 between RNG and Top Esports. And over here, back in Beijing in JDG's arena, we're going to welcome Raz and Clement, who are beside me as we look at our MVP ceremony for 2019 Summer. Gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah, and we're going to go into with our hostess, Shishi here, right in the Beijing Stadium. This is the Jingdong Arena. However, RNG also hails from this city. And we're going to start with the ceremony. They are giving us some hints right now. They're not revealing the name just yet. We have seen it on Twitter.
But we've already seen it! We know!
Because just so you guys know out there, the MVP has already been announced, and as you can see,
there he is.
Ooh. 15 regular split MVPs, highest DPM of the league, and here are some just sick-ass plays to show you why he's deserving it.
而且奈特从一技能从左侧进来，是直接切掉了。南风死掉了。正面女是他钻当中脱点了一个匣，虽然这时候游到一个EQ连挑起人，但是没有人可以阻止奈特无止境的一个输出。奈特再斩皇子以后，车厘知道自己走不掉，精神火烤想换掉 Ben。上来有一个连招，连一下嘎啦，差一丝血消除自己的闪现，一个一技能碰到了4个人，哇呀，奈特这个一技能直接炸穿了。当时这波拿到土龙为什么不撤呀？
招反人攻，这波直接过来要打了，瑞兹出现这个
369这个位置会给机会啊
！369被减速给到了，369被秒了。
这个机会，但是卢仙跟这个塔莎还有收获能力，卢仙跟进场，塔莎被逼断，罗斯马基被秒了，这边还没有死，库尔根还是一个金身，ADD 过来垫了一下，但是这个问题是谁来杀死个奈特？奈特跟卡莎要收割战场了，完全是一个个人秀。这样的巨魔又逼出了下一个闪现，奈特这波闪现以后被闪现跟着套一，但他回身的一个1代 Q 竟然把威恩的人都给换下来，
而且一个小走位没有死，这一波奈特太秀了！
天哪，奈特！
关键就是秦宁保持这种阵容，一旦优势里头，他们是可以无脑开的。哎，上路这一波，这里萨斯可能要出事儿了，但是人有点多，萨斯怎么整？反正只要秒你，
传上给大，这边直接天顶真的炸2个！
天哪，
无敌了！待会金身 W 能不能转好？一技能先来一下，再回来。这个时候 W 还没好，
哇，差一点1v5！哇，奈太可怕了，这个选手。
That's right, your summer split regular season MVP is Knight. Second in spring, finally hits the title in summer. And it is very well deserved he comes out onto the stage.
We're just reading through some of his stats right now. 15 times regular split MVP's highest DPM. Can you give us an intro to yourself? Hello, everyone. I am Top Esports' mid laner, Knight. I want to ask you, how do you keep your performance at such a high level throughout the regular split? I just practice a lot. I think I practice more than other people, and I just keep on working hard. And now we will welcome Ms. Han Xu to give the MVP regular split award tonight.
Yeah, bring it out.
欢迎您。哇，沉甸甸的一个奖杯，那我们也可以一起面向前方合张影，记录一下这个荣誉时刻。
Does seem like a very hefty award that you're getting right here. Let's please take a picture here.
Looks beautiful.
Of
course, a year's worth of work.
And it will actually be the 6th straight mid laner that we're giving an MVP. And what do you feel about this regular split performance that you've reached top 4 once more? I feel very happy about it. It does show our progress as a team.
Well, Knight gets MVP, very well deserved. You're right, Clement, it was a hefty award. But welcome back to the LPL English and to the desk here for today for RNG Top Esports. Raz, Clement, myself, and Derek are going to run you through it. And a good way to start by looking at the achievement of Knight and of Top Esports through the season.
Yeah, I love the fact that we've done this now consistently. Before the series happens, that we do give the just dues to the player that wins that MVP.
Right.
I love the fact you're also talking about, mentioning that, consistent mid lane MVPs, Rookie's got it, Doombee's got it, having the ability to now give it back to Knight, who's had a fantastic year. Really felt like that debate in the spring split between Doombee and you were also having Xiahu as a discussion coming through this one.
Did.
But like Doombe and Knight, both players that are completely different. Knight having the raw mechanics and just being, in my opinion, like that best mid laner in the world in terms of mechanics alone, versus Doombe, who just commands a team so well.
Yeah, Knight for us is definitely the best individual player we have in the LPL, bar any single position right there. And you could see in the clip, he does it on so many different champions.
Yeah.
Lucian mid, Camille mid. He played 18 different picks this split, tying with Chovy and Doombe as the most in the entire world, and he was good on every single one of them. That is what's truly surprising and truly deserving. An individual player able to command so much respect and make so much difference for the team.
That's right. Now he wants to go that extra leap and bound. He gets MVP for the regular season, but he wants to go further than that. That will be coming up to today as we look closer at playoffs. Now, yesterday, a quick recap. FPX and BLG was an awesome semi-final that you have to go back and watch, because now with that, FPX have qualified for Worlds and the Grand Final.
And remember, the story for BLG is not over yet because of that 3rd place, 4th place match. They need to be able to hit that 3rd place mark if they want to find themselves in the gauntlet run. It's been a damn good train throughout the playoffs to find ourselves so close to the finish line.
Yeah.
Really just need to be able to find out who gets to the finals and meets FPX.
And it feels like the Usurpers versus the Dynasty in this one. Both teams, if they win, will go to the World Championships, but RNG has made finals 6 times, starting since 2016, while Top Esports, a new franchising team, it's between old blood and new blood.
That's why it is about the journey. So remember, this matchup has big implications for the league. RNG, Top Esports, the winner of this goes to Worlds, not only just finals to verse FPX, but we have to have a quick talk about Top Esports and their progression, and especially towards Knight and how this team actually runs, Raz.
Yeah, simply because, and I'm going to hand it off to Clement, but remember, these teams, this is the first best of 5 we're going to be seeing from them in the playoffs, because yesterday we saw FPX coming in because they were a top 2 seed. Now we're seeing the same thing from Top Esports, so take it away.
That good semifinals, straight slotting into the semifinals, and Top Esports are built on the laning phase, 2nd best laning phase of the LPL. And what's peculiar about them is they actually artificially extend the laning phase. They have the the least towers taken at 20 minutes. They like to go back to that and keep on advancing their advantages, but they also close down very abruptly after that. They have one of the highest Baron power plays in the league at 2nd place, and after that, one of the fastest win rates.
And I love the fact that we're showing 369 and Knight here, simply because if you have iconic players like them, you want to extend the laning phase. You want to isolate matchups. And so the picks that we've been talking about for 369 has been the likes of Knight, or at least has been the likes of Jax.
Right.
And then for both of these players, they're incredibly good Aurelia players. So look at these moments in team fights, because when they find those one huge team fights to be able to nail, last time they went up against RNG, it went the distance. Top Esports were able to take it off the back of what was a heroic play from 369, and then talking about just the star power that this team has. In this specific game versus Victory 5, Knight found this incredible play here in the team fight. 30 seconds later, was able to nail it down in the laning phase. And then off this huge lead that he had, found himself outside lane. XX was able to support him well enough, and they were able to have such a snowball early game. As you've mentioned, a fastest win time from the LPL teams. this team knows how to take the advantages that they have in their solo lanes and then just end up ramming it through the enemy team.
They're super heavy on the laning phase. They turn into a 1-3-1 after that. And then they're extremely clean to close out games, which is a rarity in the LPL. I kind of mentioned them in the same category as IG, but instead of going to every fight they can take, they look on how to close out the game fastest after the laning
That was
phase.
the general idea, wasn't it? At one point, I think in spring, I was questioning the IG light, but they've gone so much further past that. Now, of course, when we're talking about the matchup here today and what the audience out there should look towards, we once again recommend Knight going into Xiahu, a mid lane fiasco that I love to see.
Yeah, because honestly, when it came down to the RNG versus Top Esports matchup, the real question was who is going to get that MVP of the split. Xiahu had such a masterful performance throughout the split entirely, but Knight was matching him through and through. Knight went up against him in that series and had a dominant performance, and I feel like that was one of the reasons why Knight was ending up, holding that title at the end.
And we do see a difference in these two's play styles. You have Xiahu being the more active player earlier on in his K+A at 15 minutes, roaming around with Karsa, getting stuff done. He's very dominant in the early game, but later on he does hand it over to Uzi. You can see a CS per minute, actually 15th in mid laners, while Knight is much more self-centered. He's about setting himself up as the sole carry and playing those side lanes.
Yeah, that's what's so different about these two teams, really, because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, RNG will move away from Xiahu. In fact, he'll be playing the likes of Karma and Corki, and they'll allow the bottom side of the map to flourish, and it's going to be Uzi who picks up the majority of this farming, time to be able to pick up resources in the jungle. But for Top Esports, it's all about Knight. What Knight does, Top Esports does. Well, if you go into the side lane as an Aurelia, XX will follow you, and so that's where Xiahu is going to have a tough time because he was already getting bullied a little bit in the LNG series, and it's going to be even harder now that this team is centered around the mid lane.
Xiahu wants to step out of the shadow of Uzi and make his own legacy within RNG, while Knight is still trying to build his own. With that in mind, moving into the series, the last semi-final of summer, end of 2019, by the way. Clement, let's start with your prediction. Tell me where you stand in RNG versus Top.
I really do see RNG winning out 3-1 with the veteranship, with the experience. As we were talking about, 6 finals appearances already, while Top Esports has really flunked their playoffs and Rift Rivals performances. Even though they have the better solo lanes, I think, in this matchup, they really have to prove that they can take it beyond the laning phase to hang with RNG.
Yeah, this is honestly the toughest conversation you can have because Top Esports throughout the regular season in both splits have proved to be the better team. That's just the fact. But the issue here is that, as you've mentioned, in the big stage, a lot of the time it comes down to experience and confidence and wielding your playstyle. And Top Esports wasn't able to accomplish that in Rift Rivals, as you mentioned, in spring playoffs, in both not only the semifinals matchup, but also when they went up against FPX in the third, fourth place match. So issue is, I don't see it happening. XX just has to play well. I think that's really the story of the day. So I have RNG picking this one up 3-1 just as well. I think it's a real difficult call, but that's it for me.
I sat on RNG as well, Raz, but I sat in the 3-2. Now, to finish this one off, before we do go to our guest prediction, remember that for RNG and Top Esports, they didn't hit their marks in spring playoffs as we expected them to, so that's why it's so shaky for me. That's why going to all 5 games I see as a bit of a likelihood here. But speaking of that guest prediction, Raz, and I'll let you introduce because it's someone who used to be on the team, and I want to see where they stand.
So Frosk, coming into this one, is going to be the guest prediction, and much like us, she believes that it's going to be RNG. But she does have some stipulations. That's why it's wide open. There's not going to be a hard number here. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the mid lane matchup, in which Xiahu, at least in the LNG series, was pummeled a lot, couldn't take weak side very well. So when he's going up against Knight, he needs to be able to get the matchup he wants. The Karma is going to be something that we're going to be looking towards. The Corki, that's pretty difficult to kill. As long as he can keep up, going towards team fights, that's the RNG that you need to see. So she has it with that, with those preconditions.
Wide open. Okay, so it's RNG across the board, but
feels bad, doesn't it?
But I still like the one game at least motivates me to say that you're still on the fence in some regard towards Top Esports finding something, right?
You have to give that to Knight. I think that's where the respect comes in. He dominated the matchup last time they played against each other. And at the end of the day, we're basing our predictions off of the experience of veteranship. But if you break it down, Top actually have a stronger top side. Kind of surprising, no pun intended right there. 369 versus Langx is going to be a lopsided matchup. If the jungle pressure does go in favor of 369, I think they are very suited to playing carry top laners, while RNG traditionally, they play towards the bot side. They pull resources away from Langx, and if Langx doesn't get that Aatrox, I think RNG's top side could be in trouble.
Wait a minute. DX Master, what are you reading?
Huh?
What?
你问我在哪儿啊？
You're asking me where I
不
am?
正常人类研究中心啊。
I am in the Abnormal Human Research Center.
Oh.
啊？
What?
你问我是谁啊？
You're asking me who I am?
不值一提。
It's not
不
worth
值一提
mentioning.
我呢
Look away.
你叫我阿邪就行了。
Call me 阿邪。
我呢，之前是打败过一些人。
I have
但是
defeated some
后来
people in
发
my
现
life.
没
But I
人是我的
realized
对手，
no
才
one
跑到这里
is my
请
opponent.
请要不谁能关得住我呀？
So I just wanted to chill out here.
不过今天我发现，
Who
这
could
报纸
actually
上说
cage me?，
在那个拯救者接地气电子竞技中心有场高手对决。
But today I figured out that 2 elite teams
我看看他们是怎么说
are
的
going to
啊
fight it out at the venue today. So I wanted to come here.
Yeah. Take a seat.
哦，天才领衔，逐渐成熟的青年军团
Oh,，you have a
年轻
genius
有为
youths,
同样也
teams
到
that are
了
fearless
开
but
花结
growing,
果之
and they're
时。
ready to blossom.
哦，这是滔
This is
博
top
呀
esports.
Oh, he's a wise man.
It's very literal as well.
DX Master is
上
one
单
of
的
a kind.
369，打野的熊熊，中单 Knight，下路的 LokeN，辅助的 Ben。
You're gonna have your starting lineup right here. 369 in the top lane, Xiong Xiong jungle, Knight as we just saw, LokeN and Ben in the bottom lane, and BSYY as coach.
And just so you people out there know, Xiong is his nickname. XX is what you'll be seeing on the Rift itself. He's a great communicator, by the way. Every single time the camera is shot on him, he's always talking.
He's loud.
He always has passion behind
Yeah, he
him.
does.
The man talks that talk.
而另一边呢，
On the other side,
他们是这么说的：
this is what they say about him.
新援补强，彻底回
New
魂的金
members
色之时，
returning to
辉煌和
old
荣耀
glory.
要他们用
We're gonna see the
胜利去
golden
捍
shout
卫
rain come down.
哦，这是 RNG。
This is RNG.
Bring him out.
上单的狼行，打野的
Launching from top lane,
中单的小
jungler
虎
Karsa,
下路的优
Xiahu from mid,
辅助
and
的
then you have
明
Uzi and Ming rounding out the bottom side with Coach Steak.
There we go.
And of course, when you're in Beijing, it's not hard to make the journey from RNG's arena over to JDG. So, crowds out in force here today.
There we go. Remember, we're still in Beijing, pretty close to the Beijing arena that RNG has there, so certainly the fans there are going to resonate a little bit close to them. But wait a second.
Done.
无坚不破，唯快不破。
Okay, so he's chanting with some curses here.
究竟谁比谁更坚
Who
固？
will
谁比谁更
defeat the
快
other?
呢？
Who's faster? Who's
我
stronger?
期待。
I am so
毕竟他
excited.
们打完之后，我们就能在世界赛上
When they finish,
交
we
交
will
手
know
了
who will go to Worlds.
안녕하세요. 만나서
He's speaking Japanese now. I don't know.
Where's the
I haven't
security?
practiced in years.
Get him out of here. Oh my god. Good lord, DX Master needs to be escorted out of the damn facility.
Magnificent. Clever, did you have any idea what character he was?
Yeah, that's a reference to the Kung Fu movie. It was a Hong Kong movie by Zhou Xingci, a very famous kind of like comedian in that genre. So very out there. It's very well known in the Chinese scene, but probably a little bit hard to translate.
If you guys need a reason to watch JD games, DX Master is definitely one of them. He just has so many of these skits, honestly. Like the
Yeah.
favorite one for me, as I mentioned yesterday, was that Avengers skit.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Snapping his finger, decked out in purple. This man was ready for the stage.
I mean, he's only come in this split, so it's just magnificent that we get the luxury of seeing what we'll call a great host in action. So, great way to introduce us to top esports and RNG. And he's right, the winner of this series goes to Worlds. So, why not dress up, build up the momentum, build up the hype for this upcoming best of 5?
And you have to give it to the Beijing home team as well. Like we were mentioning, we have home and away systems in the LPL. And fortunately enough for RNG, their home stadium is located in Beijing. Close. So you can just feel all of that home crowd energy shifting their way as well.
And so for me coming into this series, I know people already know what our predictions are. For us on the desk, it's just stacked out in RNG. And I don't want people to come out there and expect this to be a clean series. It's going to be a fight. As you can see, just based off the stats alone, it's favoring. Well, let me double check. What the hell is this?
There's a lot of stats right here.
What am I looking at, Clement? You tell me. Why does it have RNG?
We have to mention this. Knight only joined Top Esports in 2019.
Yeah.
Since he's joined, they've won all of their series, but before that, it was RNG favored, which I have to say isn't that fair.
This needs context. You can't just have RNG winning out all of those games, and you're like, wait a minute, Knight just came in recently? Like, honestly, it's been at least in the summer split. So in the summer split, it's been decked out for Top Esports. The series that we showed to you, of course, went the distance. It did go to a 3-game series. But it was Knight having full control in the mid lane. And these team fights working out so well. In fact, the iconic team fight being around, you know, Sejuani. This is in game 2, by the way. I'm sure we'll have this, the replay of what happened in the 3rd game, in which it was Karsa getting caught out in that final fight. That 4-man, you know, Counter-Strike. Really being able to nail it for that team. So at the end of the day, I think Top Esports comes in with the skill factor. And it's RNG that has that evolution throughout the entire playoffs. So I want to see what Top Esports has, because we haven't seen them in some time. In fact, the last time we saw them go up against FPX, they got trolled based off of Duembi taking
That was an interesting
jungle.
series, yeah.
And then got outplayed during those fights. So I want to see if Top Esports has something here tonight.
Because it's exciting when you realize that they have their head-to-head in summer. May not mean anything on paper, but when you look at the strength of Top Esports, noticing that game 3 that we're now getting a look at, where 369 and Knight styled on them, that's the fear.
And so 369 for me is the player to watch, because during the regular season, he is a boss. There's a reason why when we have conversation of, you know, Rookie of the Year, he is the first person you think about. This is the play I was talking about. Just look at the Jacks. Honestly, incredible play from him consistently during the regular season. But we need to see that level from him during the playoffs, because in Spring Split, they actually moved Moyu into the main roster because of the issues that stemmed on the top side of the map.
I totally agree with you. I think that top lane is going to be the deciding factor, but I want to come out here for Langx because he has a great series against LNG. 9.7 KDA on that Aatrox, not given a lot of resources, but still able to perform during the team fights.
And they're sticking with him as well. It's going to be Langx, of course, starting off. We're not seeing LoveZR, which was a test for RNG during the final weeks, but I like that. Again, we focus on this man in the mid lane that we've hyped up so much.
But the champions that you're currently looking at, you look at the poking style of this team, that's actually when they get their fastest win times around his Zoe play and his Jace play. And then you see the Aurelia, and a lot of those times you see him splitting up the map, and it becomes a lot more harder for the enemy teams to deal with that. But what are the stats saying here?
Well, they're basically saying he's #1 in most damage categories, #1 in DPM, kill share, and of course gold lead at 15. Individually dominating his mid lane, and I really want to see what Xiahu now throws up. I would be disappointed if this is simply a Karma and survive the lane matchup for Xiahu. Because he can bring so much more.
I don't want to see it, honestly. A lot of the times when people throw the stats without the context, you're like, wait a minute, they threw him on Lulu and Karma a lot of the time.
It was that game 3 Lulu draft that you did not like, right?
Because Xiahu this split has been phenomenal. He's actually just been so good, and one of the champion picks that they won't show here, but has been a special for him, has been the Syndra. So his Syndra's been exceptional, but we're going to be looking at who the support who nailed first all LPL team in Ming.
Remember that Ming, it's the Morgana in that last series against LNG that cleaned them out.
And we can see right here, best KDA, best wards per minute, and best vision score overall. So he's really keeping Uzi safe. I think a big change they did was play a lot of Morgana in the bot lane, keep that bot lane safe while it's pushing up, and they're making sure that Uzi is not getting ganked.
That's the thing here with RNG, is that if you look to the bot side of the map, they're the team that treats Karma as a true 3-way flex, not from just the solo lanes, but also in the bot side of the map. So they play Enchanter supports far more frequently, and I'm not just talking about the Yuumi that you're seeing across the globe being paired up with some Demacian Prince. I'm talking about literally, you know, the Karma Kaisa lanes, or something to give Uzi a strong laning phase. Stylistically, this is fun. LokeN and Ben will just play weak side, and Uzi and Ming will try their hardest to kill them with 4-man dives.
Yep, Uzi had a monster series, and I think a lot of it does come down to those Enchantress supports. He did 40% of the team's damage.
In that whole series?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And his farming stats were really, really good. 11.2 CS per minute. He was keeping the lane push. He was gaining a lot of CS leads by shoving in, and he wasn't ganked throughout that. Really good protection of the bottom side.
Yeah, Uzi has just been, my eyes, this split, just the best AD carry.
Yep.
I know all LPL team goes towards LWX, and a lot of times the stats favor the team that hits #1. But Uzi consistently has made that late game mark so much shorter. If you're thinking about late game, suddenly it becomes 30 minutes or 28 because he's able to hit perfect CS margins, much like Reckless for Fnatic, to be able to get that point when Reckless has actually played 80 carries. Just throwing that out there. You gotta always have context, ladies and gentlemen. That's been the story of the day. But now we go into the champion select for game 1. I want to see what the bottom lane is showing for us in RNG side.
I want to reiterate as well that, Clement, when you mentioned the Aatrox, that was my first look at Top Esports. It's going to be the first ban by Top here in game 1 as well.
Yeah, you have to take that away from Langx. He's able to perform too well on it, and I like that RNG and both Top Esports are taking away just slam dunk power picks. You see the Aatrox and the Akali inches taken away, and then it's the junglers. Olaf and Gragas are the two best junglers for both Karsa and Xiahu.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just been the story of the LPL. Gragas and Olaf have just been the go-to junglers, and it's really flipped the script now that all of these junglers who have played this throughout the entire split now don't have access to it. So you're starting to see higher jungle priority for the Jarvan. Thank God we're going to be seeing the Sejuani, because I think it should raise in priority, especially with the Aurelia open up for Knight.
Okay, Clement, does that follow here? Do you go Aurelia now, or do you change and look for a safe bottom lane?
I think for Top Esports, most of their drafts on the red side, they actually pick the bottom lane first and then save counter pick for their solo lanes. And because both of their solo lanes share a lot of champion picks in the Jason and the Aurelia, they can do that and then switch around their matchups. So Top Esports has been known very consistently. I think Xayah Rakan is still open, so they could be picking into that.
Just remember, my take on this is that picking Aurelia as the blind pick, I'm completely fine with. What Top Esports needs to throw their pick number 5, their counter pick, should be 4-3-6-9. At all times, try and abuse that matchup, because mid is easy to get a control over. It just comes down to a strong 2v2 now that Sejuani and Aurelia can provide that. You just need to be able to use that lane, bridge to the positive side of the map, which should be 3-6-9. You might end up seeing a Jax game in game 1. Let's see what the bans turn out to be.
Yeah, all these picks are still up and available. We do see the Xayah Rakan over there for RNG. Aurelia, we mentioned, looking more at the Mordekaiser here, still being in 9-15. Not this game, however, as Top Esports start banning away the solo lanes. RNG join in and get rid of 369's gangplank.
It does seem very peculiar to me that Top Esports not trying to take away Xayah Rakan. This sets up RNG in such a damn comfortable position. Very safe bottom lane that can hyper carry later on. And with Jarvan, I think they have early gank priority as well. So RNG are set up to play towards the bot side.
My thing is, throughout this series, take a look at the Mordekaiser pick. I think it should be left open in the next few games because Top Esports can play into it. The Renekton pick, the Jax pick, all of these bruisers that do so well versus Mordekaiser, they will try to bully Langx. That's for the next few games. Let's see what ends up happening here for RNG now that they don't have the Aatrox, the Karma, or the Mordekaiser there for Langx.
One of the priority picks. Top Esports, however, you mentioned the safety of the bottom side. Nothing more safe than the Ezreal Tahm Kench to play down the weakest part of the map.
There we go. You just need that added safety, right? A lot of the times the conversation has been Varus Tahm Kench, but LokeN just wants that extra bit of safety and the utility if he ends up going towards the, the armor route, of course. So it's going to the gauntlet route. But let's just see what it ends up being. You do need to protect yourself from what is an all-in lane from the Xayah Rakan.
Strongest solo lanes that are blind pickable right now. Renekton still left open on the table. Very strong in the weak side if RNG decide to play more heavily toward bottom. Or Vladimir is another option. This is one that does get pushed in earlier on, but in the team fights, really accept no substitute.
We'll see what the full pick here is. We have 20 seconds to just kind of spare and see what Xiahu is looking to pick versus the Aurelia. Could even be an Aurelia topside, so it just needs to be a safe pick. I think Corki makes a lot of sense
Still
here.
open, yeah.
You do have a lot of AD there for Uzi and Karsa right out the get-go, so you don't need to necessarily go towards it. Renekton pick coming through, which means that it's going to be the Renekton versus Aurelia matchup wherever it goes. So it's now on Top Esports to recognize if the Aurelia goes topside, the Renekton will follow it, and you might see a Vladimir mid lane.
We've seen so many successful stories of the Renekton versus Aurelia here in the LPL, so good news here for RNG. We're waiting for that final pick to get locked in. You have the Aurelia, the Corki is an option. 369 has played that in the top lane if need be.
But I remember when Knight came into the league, his Corki pick was just sick. This was out of meta Corki, yeah, exactly. Where he was able to find himself that goal lead early on, find himself in a side lane, and was hunting for highlight plays. 3 people would come for him, would be able to find a kill and an escape. So I want to be able to see how much support XX will, and Ben in this case, will be able to provide him. This is a double AD carry composition with a lot of tanks, so they can play this front to back.
And we have to mention that RNG have swapped around their mid laner and their top laner. They do flex between the solo lanes sometimes, and they have to decide right now. LokeN is at 20 seconds on exactly where this Vladimir and Renekton is going to go.
I don't think that's a Rakan in the middle lane.
Yeah! Yeah!
You know, Xiahu, what did you want? Did you want a support pick or a carry pick? Well,
the refs need to force this. Let's go. Stake like, walking off with confidence.
It's done.
That's the confidence I would have when that Vladimir is put right into the jungle.
Please no.
We're going to find out.
Look at it. Yeah.
It's still there. Are we just changed?
Vladimir jungle. Don't question it.
Okay.
Accept it.
Now, assuming...
Let's settle down.
I'm just going to wait.
Let's sit down and watch them walk onto the rift.
Wouldn't that be a great start for game one? People have changed positions.
It would be very unexpected. Like you said, I still expect the Renekton to go up against the Aurelia matchup. That is a favorable one. And the Vladimir against the Corki, both sides get to farm it out. It's happy there.
I don't see any questions on the sides of RNG.
I mean, Xiahu was questioning a lot.
This is when you go into the rift.
Looked at stake like, are you
with
sure?
your Vladimir jungle, and you just let things happen.
It's a difficult matchup. So how does Vladimir jungle work, Raz?
Anyways, no.
Too far down the rabbit hole, yeah.
The amount of utility for ganks is through the roof. That's when you come into the lane, pool underneath the enemy.
Get the slow.
There's slow.
Anyways, to the point. I do expect it to be the Renekton versus Aurelia
matchup.
Yeah. And I think that just makes it so much harder now for 369 to get the job done, to be able to use his matchup. If that's going to be, as we had that conversation, it could be a Corki top lane, very true. But no matter what, it proves a hindrance to Top Esports roster. Not being able to have the push through mid is going to be an issue for a team that has always prioritized that. And then looking to the top side, not being able to, try and look for those dives because Renekton will have priority is also an equal issue. But we're taking a long time for a reason.
Yes.
For a very
it seems
obvious
like they're
reason.
swapping around their champions right now, and something's happening. But we should expect a top versus bottom side type of matchup. RNG, of course, focusing on the bot side with Uzi's Rakan. And on the top side, you have the ganking machine of Aurelia plus Sejuani. You can proc the melee stacks on Winter's Wrath just with the Blade Surge, so very easy to get stuns on the Aurelia and try to snowball that lane.
The funny thing about this is that we've seen XX pick up a Sejuani quite often. In fact, he is a Sejuani Gragas connoisseur. The issue is, the perspective. If you were to ask an LPL audience, someone who's watched every game of Top Esports, they have a very positive image of what XX is as a jungler. They might even rank him in top 5s of the junglers in the split. If you ask any international audience that has watched his Rift Rivals play, that has watched the playoffs play, he has looked really bad. He has not hit his Sejuani ultimates. That hit rate is pretty damn low.
Yeah.
And so this is where confidence on this man needs to come in hot. For a player who's the backbone in terms of the team's communication and direction within the game, he needs to play well, especially versus Karsa. That's where my focus draws in on. I'm talking about top lane jungle a lot of the times, which has been the real confusion here for Top Esports.
And Top Esports, because they're such a heavy lane-dominant team, if they fall behind in the early game, they actually have one of the poorest win rates of the playoff teams. Only 40% win rate to win after they lose a lead at 15 minutes. So extremely important for Xiong to be starting off on the correct foot. And we're seeing some Ming fans right here.
What's the sign say?
It's just Ming's name.
What?
That's it?
I know your name.
I have a confirmation for you all. There was an error swapping
Really?
champions, if you didn't guess already.
Really?
So they are
don't
remaking
say.
the champion select, and then we'll be doing the correct swap. That is the delay, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll be getting into the series. But I like that we're talking about XX. I like that we're talking about performance issues, because at the very least, when we go back to last playoffs for top esports, there are a lot of questions towards XX and 369.
Yeah, so those are the issues that I've had, coming in for both of the players. Talked about it quite heavily. I'm sorry about this. I just want to talk about the referees here. For me, this is the time for the referees to strike. We saw what happened last night for LEC. Referee came in saying, nah, you're playing with those 2 pages. You made your mistakes. You sit in that bed. I'm saying right now for top esports, who was that? It was RNG.
Yep.
RNG, you made your mistakes.
With that.
That Vladimir, we even threw it up on the screens. We don't want confusion for the audience.
Oh my god.
You're playing with these picks.
I might as well start from game 2 then.
Oh, wow.
I do hope they get to swap. I know these mistakes
I mean, Clem,
happen.
I just said they're swapping.
You just said
that.
Why are you worried about too much?
I just want a good semifinals.
We're going to have a good semifinal. Hey,
last semifinals is great.
Yesterday was good, Clement.
What do you have with
another good one?
Oh,
okay.
All right. You're asking.
Look, I will just say, I've talked to a couple of community members, people that watch the LPL. They're really excited for top esports and RNG. They say this is the semi-final they've been waiting for.
Yes.
Because with FPX and BLG, a lot of favoritism towards FPX for the crowd. But this one, because of the regular season performance and top esports climbing to the top, it's a bit less cut and dry.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a very competitive best of 5. If you were to ask me about yesterday's, I thought it was the #1 team and the #2 team in current play. That's how I felt about BLG at the time, and that's why I think they're going to take 3rd place going into the playoffs and also going to be making that running gauntlet. So I have a lot of faith in them. But today, there is so much confusion, as you've mentioned. There isn't that preconceived notion. Even talking to the Chinese casters, like Teddy on that side believes that top esports will win.
He's
because
at 3-0.
Well,
yeah.
because they have damn good players, and that's the conversation, Clement.
If you're just looking at the meta, then you have to say top esports actually fits here better. They're more about the solo lanes, and that's where the power picks actually are. You talk about the Akali and the Aatrox, they have a 100% win rate on that Aatrox for 369 as well. So they're doing very well in this situation. What we're only worried about is character after laning phase. That's the big question for top esports, and they have made a career off of basing their advantage off of the relative strength of their players compared to the opponent team, but you're not going to get that much of a leverage when you're going up against RNG.
So here's a player that I feel like, or at least a role that is definitely not talked about. This is usually the screen, and yep, there we go. Draft is done and completed with. I'm going to be talking about a little bit more about Ben and Ming here, because Ben is a player in the recent games we've seen, has had massive teamfight performances, and has been a low-key win point for the team. I want to see how Ming can perform going up against that.
But we'll finally be getting into game 1 here of the second semi-final. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, RNG Top Esports, the winner of this will be our second team confirmed for Worlds, joining Fun Plus Phoenix in the grand finals. The turnout's huge, like you said, Raz. RNG being close by has its perks here in JDG's arena in Beijing.
Definitely, I think, still the most popular organization right now in China. I know that Invictus Gaming has certainly gained a lot of fans on the last 2 splits of performances, but RNG is the team that have those members. Uzi, Ming, like you see the fans who constantly come to watch those 2 players perform, and especially with Xiahu's current performance, it's going to be a fun one.
Plus, after the golden year of 2018, they want to relive and get an RNG that heads to Worlds once again.
Just taking a look at the runes, we have double Kleptomancy from top esports, a bit of a slow start on the bottom side, and we should see a lot of focus going towards the top, and I like what top esports did. They tried to prevent a potential vertical jungle from RNG, had a lot of people on the top side, early warding there, just making sure that RNG could not fully utilize the Renekton in lane.
And there we go. I mean, just so you guys, can obviously tell, Renekton's going into the top side match to follow the Aurelia, which is a big positive here for RNG in the draft, because they weren't going to be able to respond to that last counter pick. They were able to do it very well, just being able to utilize Vladimir and Renekton as true flexes here. So It's going to be a lot here for 369 to take, but a very good trade just on that one alone.
Aurelia level 1 with her passive, the Ionia Fury, and with the Conquerors is always so damn hard to deal with. You really have to relinquish the lane there, and that's what we see Langx doing.
We wait for it to change as Xiahu gets a decent trade on tonight, but with Corrupting Potion, we'll be able to trade back.
But my thing is, Sejuani being able to take blue buff, red, Krugs is going to be in position to go for the Scuttle Crab as soon as it spawns. And that's why my eyes go towards 369 in the lane. He's actually shoved this one up. If you can get a complete shove and can bounce that right back towards him, then that's a gank waiting to happen. I just think that Langx is actually in a very safe position. So it's going to be XX looking towards his adjacent lane, only going to be really finding the Vladimir, which makes it hard because Vladimir is fairly ungankable with the pool that he has. Of course, still has the summoners, and even to make it, he doesn't even have to blow the flash because he has phase rush on the back end of that. So very safe for Xiahu just off the laning phase alone.
And on the backside of that, Karsa towards the bottom side, going for the scuttle of his own. So in terms of a counter gank or positioning himself, Karsa has built up the strength now at 3 minutes.
The big question for RNG is when this bot lane is pushing up, how do you protect it? How do you set up vision to make sure Uzi is never punished right here? And this is very common from RNG's early games. Their jungler, Karsa, a mechanical genius, is always willing to go blind into the enemy jungle, take that 1v1 and set up vision, make sure that no one can get close to their main carry.
My problem with topside play has always been just that. Because if you're playing towards 369 and he's creating a slow advantage, it's just that. It's slow. We saw what happened yesterday when LWX was able to take a turret at 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
If you have mid lane pressure and you're able to find Karsa on the back end, they may not get a kill onto Tahm Kench and Ezreal, but you're getting a lot of turret platings just based off that alone. So I want to see if there's much defensive movement from XX and Knight to stop that from happening. He's already on the top side of the map.
Now 369 is at half health, but for Langx, wrong side of that, instant flash response. Double flash comes through, and Karsa might be too late to the play, but Langx trying to escape. Here comes Karsa with a flag, drag, and thank you very much for first blood. RNG in the nick of time send the jungler up and get first blood. XX will not be able to trade.
That was such a good flash from Langx. He waited until the Winter's Wrath came out from Xiong, instantly flashed away with it, was not hit by the slow, and was able to turn that 2v2.
Yeah. Really well played, because I just thought he was dead in that situation, even with the flash that he was able to throw out. But at the end of the day, he was able to find the slice and dice right out there, and great positioning from Karsa to get that counter gank.
That's just the experience coming out from Langx and RNG as a whole. Top Esports were setting up the exact play you were talking about. 369 got that bounce onto lane. He had a perfect 4-minion freeze, but Karsa was right there, right in time to turn around the gank.
And now Langx has the ability to walk back to lane with teleport in hand. And after getting the assist here, he survived just long enough.
So just take a look at this. This is what we were talking about. A perfect flash, so the slow didn't come through and the extra bit of damage. Was able to get a great slice and dice here, and then this one was just exactly what it is. Great kill towards 369, and that's first blood going over to Karsa.
Okay, picked up the Bammy Cinder on his first back as well. Double flash burnt for both jungler and top laner, so still with the CS lead on the Aurelia. For now, 369 won't be hurting too much, but it's about the long-distance jog here now for RNG.
Yeah, that's still a very sizable lead. Even with the assist going over to Langx, you should still favor 369 in lane, even though the item buy might not suggest it right now.
Quick trades there, as you can see as well. Conqueror coming through is a big part.
What Langx needs to do is just not find themselves into these trades, because Knight is consistently shoving out this lane, can easily find himself going onto the top side of the map. You can already see Sejuani coming in there, so whenever you have such a large amount of waves crashing into your turret, you need that added bit of safety. Great ward catching out Sejuani here, but even still, I think he should still be safe. Doesn't have flash here, so he needs to play this one out
369 hit level 6 as well, but you're right, no flash might be a big difference.
And look at the warding on the bottom side of the lane. We're already seeing pings coming down from RNG where they're contemplating a potential 4v2 onto the bottom side. And if this dive does come through on the top, which looks like it's about to fizzle, it really is about how much RNG can get on the bottom.
This very much reminds me of what happened in Rift Rivals when XX went topside and placed that camp going up against Nuggery. And a lot of the times, yeah, the top lane falls down. He falls behind. This time around, he's just losing gracefully. That's what Langx should be providing, because it's Uzi and Ming that are getting the whole bit of, turret plating. The advantage is certainly there. Karsa is picking up blue side on their opposite side of the map. RNG, flat out right now, is winning the game. Langx is making it easier.
10 CS lead on the Zyre in the bottom lane. BF sword picked up with double longsword alongside it. for Uzi. Now, he's got both his summoners. He picked up the turret plating, as you mentioned, so feeling pretty good here for RNG and just steadily ramping up.
It's a bit of a slow early game, but for top esports, they're definitely looking for the 1-3-1 potential. They don't mind the scaling. And RNG on their side, they are looking more for the 5v5 team fights. They have the superior front line in this one, and that AoE damage coming from Xiahu, that does give them an edge.
Yeah, certainly you're not expecting any bit of skirmishing if you're looking towards top esports and they have the Corki, Ezreal, and Tom Kench bot side. That's just them wanting to be able to get to that level. Trinity Force certainly going to be the purchase there for Knight soon enough. While for RNG, you just rarely see Vladimirs in games because most Vladimirs don't see like an ability to scale up for a mid laner. Like a lot of the times you need an ability to push back in mid lane because you're going to be seeing the enemy mid laner find a way through bot side. Knight here even picked up Klepto because the lane is going to be easy for him. So a lot of free gold there for Knight. Even a lot of just free potions, just biscuits, corrupting potion, and the potions he'll be getting through the Klepto procs alone. So Knight's going to be happy scaling up, but to your point about the 5v5s, if Vladimir ever finds that flank, good luck.
Yeah, it does seem like Xiahu is being put on the don't die duty. You don't typically see Vladimir's in the mid lane because he doesn't help with Scuttle.
Yeah.
No crowd control there. Very difficult for him to move out of lane. And I think this is RNG kind of saying, this is our backup plan once Karma is banned. We are going to put Xiahu on something that doesn't necessarily contest lane, but doesn't die either.
Langx has teleport, by the way. Let's go straight for it.
That's a commitment out of RNG you want to see. They're going to dive the bottom lane 4 versus 2. The flag and drag doesn't connect. Ben eats up the Ezreal. Good blade caller here onto Bennu. Flashes away, but they go for the Ezreal. They pick up the kill onto Ming as XX comes in for the re-engage. That Renekton is dying underneath turret. Langx trades. So good for top esports after reacting.
Just a great amount of slow coming through from XX, so Renekton wasn't going to be able to leave. But this pressure is compounding. LokeN missed that wave. He's certainly going to be missing this one. So this is a lot you're losing out. Uzi has a major advantage.
Is Ming going to die, though? Takes a bit of a turret shot, but Uzi sticking around. XX in a lot of trouble, and Ben still eating him up. The True Shot Barrage only nicks the Xayahs, so top esports with low health bars have to back away, while 369 in the top lane is trying to get a better trade.
RNG got a great advantage in their bot side, but their solo lanes actually suffered heavily from that. If you look at the mid lane, Xiahu wasn't able to complete the 4v2. He had to burn his ultimate to stave off the advance from Knight. And in the top side, 369 was uncontested for that farm. So if RNG cannot bank on this advantage earlier, they will fall down because of it.
So as you can tell with the prolonged dive that came through, Ben had to use his W really early on. Made it hard for LokeN when the Renekton finally came through. The ultimate really slowing down Langx there, so he even tried to use his Q just in case he was able to find a rogue minion to get his HP back up. Not even close.
That was a much closer trade than I think it shows up in terms of the kills, because top esports, this is a advantage that will continue to snowball throughout the game, and I like RNG's response here. They're saying we have to cut it off before the soul lanes get out of control.
Still trying to pick something up with the Rift Herald here being taken. Now XX is nearby, he's going to spot it, but at 1500 health, he just has to back away while RNG pick up the objective and look towards the top lane.
If we're just looking at the solo lanes alone, that's a 1200 gold lead shared between 369 and Knight within their own lane. So that's pretty damn nice. The only issue is that you look towards the AD carry route, and while that's great farming coming through from LokeN, it's just substantially having Uzi that advantage that you need to respond to.
And he's going to get all the gold from the turret plating here. Knight trying to push away Xiahu. He has the package, but that's just going to be to get back into lane while Xiahu fends off the push from top esports, and RNG are looking for that first turret.
Does seem like RNG is going to get it. They do have the Herald and the extra minion wave right here, but I have to say top esports is holding on to this advantage. What we're really waiting for is the second item breakpoint for Uzi for RNG to really cash in and use that bottom lane to snowball.
And this could get messy down in the bottom lane. Dominus going to be popped. LokeN's taking his second turret shot, and Ben's trying to stave him off as well.
But Langx is very easily thinned out that wave, so XX is going to keep him down here, but where is your damage coming from?
And Riftshield's going to get a second charge as well. Langx's been here for so long.
There he is. Ultimate's down on Langx, so once the wave comes through, a lot of waiting.
Now they need something. That's a Glacial Prison coming through. RNG still going to TP. Langx with a great flash, but will he survive long enough? Karsa here again underneath the turret. There's an execute over to the boar. While top esports find Langx eventually, they hung around for so long.
I love that play from RNG. They actually gave up on the push in the top side and chose to defend their bottom side. Now they can swap the lanes back, and it's going to be hell for 369 in that top lane because he's going up against a lot of gank potential. This lane is perfectly bounced. It was already in tower, so you cannot hold it either.
Yeah, priority is there from RNG. Also, Langx doing his best to hold the wave off, thinning it out, and at the end of the very end, you can see him, as we called it, pressing his ultimate so he would be able to get the full clear of the wave and just prolong so much time for top esports to even get anything out of that. It's just a little sad that that was just an execute. If that was just a raw kill, of course that's a huge advantage for RNG. It's just better for them at the end of it. If you're just looking forward for the next few minutes, because now, you know, the jungler's off the map for quite some time, that Uzi and Ming were able to make that rotation back to the bot side of the map, there's not much that top esports can do to be able to defend the turrets that are currently under attack.
I have to say, most teams would have taken the 2-for-1 turret trade right there, but RNG are setting themselves up to get Langx back in the game. That wave, they bounced it, and they instantly came down to defend the bottom lane tower as well. So very smart moves across the map, and I think right now for top esports to come back, they're going to have to use that teleport advantage that they have on Aurelia.
Especially on 369, when you talk about the teleport advantage, sure. Trinity Force almost completed for the top laner, who is 40 CS up over Langx, and RNG right now going to pick themselves up a second dragon in the mountain.
This is what RNG does a lot. Right now, in terms of just dragon control rates, they're pretty high at that, mostly because of the fact that they have a great duel lane, and they play towards it so consistently, so that will always be their strong side. And so when they do it, and you start to see slow games like these, who gets the advantage? A team that gets that 20-minute mark with a 3 or 4 dragon advantage. So it's going to be top esports that are going to be looking at their clock and realizing they need to be on the map pretty quickly.
Sure.
And this is just such a RNG-esque allocation of resources. If you look at the top lane, he's getting not much at all, 92 CS, down a lot. It all is about funneling in for Uzi, making sure he gets to that power spike, which is amplified when on a carry, and then fishing for those crucial team fights onward. So once he gets that IE down, it's go time for RNG.
The Essence Reaver just came through, and I love that you pull out the resources. Of course, Xiahu's down in CS as well. 30 down, in fact, on the Vladimir. Still doesn't have his first item, but...
Well, I mean, a Vladimir will always stack up CDR items. Just the recipes itself, making himself unkillable, really. Can spam his ultimate if he ever finds himself in danger so he can keep top up. So for him to be in this position, he's ready for team fights. But take a look at the gold leads that are just attained by the turret plates alone.
Damn, and it's all focused on the bottom lane for RNG. Over 1,000 gold just with that pushing bot lane. And I was actually quite surprised that LokeN and Ben did not step up to challenge the Xayah Rakan. It seems like a lane that is very, very safe. You can try to take early and has been the most dominant champion for Uzi in the previous series. So it seems like top esports are almost relinquished that lane and kind of admitted that they're going to suffer some heavy losses here.
For me, reality is we're going to be seeing a fight very soon. 3 minutes in, then you're going to be seeing a double Mountain Dragon be the card here for RNG. Top esports needs to stop that. We're in a position where you can fight around Aurelia. It's just very difficult when you don't have your second item there for Corki and for the Ezreal at this stage not having damage to his name. He's slowing down the Muramana pickup because he went towards the Iceborne Gauntlet for the utility, as we've mentioned. So a lot of this run now is just top esports. They're going to try and contest. They're just in a bad position to win those fights.
At least getting this turret will be able to push out the lane a little bit, get those side lanes more under control. Knight's going to get the gold as well, so with the Trinity Force with a bit of extra damage, which you assume will be coming off an Essence Reaver / IE, at least Knight will be able to try and poke them down before they begin.
Yeah, I'd love to see an Essence Reaver pickup. It would really make this composition unstoppable front to back. I think this would just make it so hard for RNG to ever find like that team fight in a flank position. Because that's something that you were talking about, Clement. You wanted to see RNG through team fights, but if you look towards a late game Corki, late game Ezreal, it's actually just so difficult for a Vladimir to find that proper flank to try and get either of the carries.
And that's where you see Ming do his magic. I would call him the best Rakan player in the LPL. He's been LPL first team for multiple splits right now, always has a good performance, and the initiation role is what Ming is most known for. You've seen the highlights where he flashes in to catch an arrow for Uzi, but the initiation is his main job here, and he's always been fantastic.
Take a look at the current vision control on the side for RNG. As you can see, Ming's already clearing out top side. So to the point of how Ming is so strong at being able to set up these fights, it's because of that setup, about the vision control that not just him, Karsa as well really does a strong job at facilitating for that. So that's going to be the major battle for top esports, where they're going to be trying to defend their adjacent lanes for their split pushers, but they won't have the vision to do just that. So that's where Knight has to be a little bit more creative.
And the other way RNG is going to find themselves a team fight is with that Spellbinders you see on the Vladimir.
Yep.
A lot of times you see the Proto Belt first item, but Xiahu knows his role. He's coming in from the side lane. He's trying to get a surprise flank onto those slippery carries like the Corki and the Ezreal. So he's going for that Spellbinder first, and we have to pay close attention to when that gets fully stacked, because that will signal a team fight.
Does have the teleport as well, so if you're talking about the surprise flank, you can see the deep vision you were just mentioning there. Ming going further into the enemy blue side jungle, and pings are now going down. Looks like Top Esports are grouping up with the remainder of the package. They want this outer turret to drop so they have further access to deeper vision themselves.
A small thing I talked about was just the CDR, the stage looking like 40% from the Vladimir's perspective. In a, let's say, an isolated matchup, if he ever gets aggressed on, he can just simply put down the pool and keep himself pretty topped up and safe. But also just having the full rotation, or at least 2 rounds of it, in team fights is going to be something that Top Esports needs to have an answer to. It's going to be Ben, sure, but Ben can't do everything with a Tahm Kench. He can't save you from Ming to start out with, and if he does, then you're going to have the Vladimir or the Renekton that finds that angle. Well, yesterday's series was literally about full dive, but take a look at this.
Yeah, Ming going in for the counter engage. Now, RNG don't have all their members here, as Uzi was the one to get caught out. He gets a Blade Caller back. Now, 369 left on his lonesome as RNG are picking apart the pieces. Top Esports just rotated back, and RNG worked their magic.
Great flank. But if you're just taking a look at this, while you're able to get that 1 kill, Top Esports still gets the turret and the mid lane push while the dragon is up. So I like this from Top Esports in the long run, but it took that 1 kill to let it go.
What was so smart about that one was Top Esports knew full well when Uzi was going to get his second bite. We've been talking about the RNG power spike, how they super hyper farm Uzi up to get that second item and then fish for team fights. Well, Top Esports group before that, they caught them out of their awareness and just said, we're going to use this timing window, force that teleport from Uzi. He was still late, and they do find a lot of damage.
And then it also came down to the poke here, as we saw in the fight, coming from Knight himself.
So, as you can see, this is what we're kind of talking about with Xiahu finding that flank. Great movement from both Langx and Xiahu to make it happen. That's a preview for what the fights will look like for RNG in the next few, because right now, being able to get that kill, great. Great amount of gold that's now being funneled towards the carries here for RNG, but it's Top Esports that were able to get the Mountain Dragon that they were concerned about, able to get that mid lane turret that they're sieging for. So right now, that's great for Top Esports, but they still need to find that answer in the later fights when the Xayah is impenetrable, when Xiahu and Langx are going to consistently look for those flanks with a Cataclysm in tow.
Where they become near unkillable here for the front line of RNG. Uzi now, by the way, has his Infinity Edge as his second item, so RNG basing themselves around the Baron that's about to spawn with no vision from top.
This isn't a particularly fast Baron take from RNG, so I think Top Esports are actually fine at this moment. It just ticked 20 minutes, so they're taking their time, they're pushing their waves in here. What I'm really worried about for RNG is the fact that you have Knight up 60 CS already with an Infinity Edge, and Top Esports are very well set up to start going into the 1-3-1. RNG actually need to fish for team fights here. They need to be much more aggressive in finding those 5v5s and just using that item lead on Uzi.
Yeah, Top is the team that will assure advantages for their carries rather than trying to just fish for picks. You know, they could play around Baron and try and fish for an ultimate from XX to get a member. They don't have the necessary burst, and I think that's going to be a major concern. They recognize that, put themselves on side lane, but 369 has himself a few challenges.
This will be a big pick around Baron's 2 members here. Him and Plague's going to come down. 369 being tested as he tries to get out. He flushes over the wall. Xiahu gets the movement speed here from the Crimson Rush, but he's not going to find 369. That was a nice escape.
Yeah, nice movement from Knight too. Just in case 369 ended up chasing him down to find the, or at least like if there was a real fight continuing on. Because Xiahu was certainly looking for it. Knight comes in, by his side, protects him, and they can get back on that duty of the 1-3-1.
That's the one play where we've seen Top Esports fall over and over again. When they do the 1-3-1, I think 369, with how unexperienced he is as a top laner, actually gets caught out quite often. And RNG had a double teleport advantage there. So if they found the pick, it was going to be a bloody Baron fight straight after. Top Esports needs to be so aware of that.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a 1-4 though. So that's the issue. It seems like a lot of the times they're having that extra member, 369 in this state, roaming with the team so they don't get caught off when they're searching for vision. So finally he's on the top side of the map to clear out the wave. But you can see basically Top Esports recognizing that RNG wants to find that pick. Ming has found it in the last fight. He's a damn good recon, so you want to pay him that respect.
Super difficult now. Vision's been cleared away from the Baron, but RNG pulling back, clearing out the waves, not going to challenge top here as they impeach into their jungle once again.
And looking at the gold score right here, RNG does put themselves on timers a lot of time. How can they find a team fight before their soul laners become irrelevant? Already 1k deficit on the Renekton, and now the Baron starts.
When you have yourself the Titanic Hydra, the Aurelia's going to start punching this down. Ming looks for the engage, but Knight use the package to disengage, and that'll line the path to stop RNG.
But it's just nice to test RNG there. RNG were aware of it, went and challenged them. If Top Esports were just in the area and were just running for it, they could have easily just taken a 22-minute Baron. But RNG is on their game. Top Esports recognize that. Remember, we're in a game 1 of a best of 5, so having an ability to read your opponent like this early on in the series is a big positive.
True.
I actually really don't like that play from Top Esports. I think that's kind of the perfect scenario for RNG to get an early team fight, and you just get wiped off that. I agree that testing the waters is always a good thing in a long series, but that one was a bit risky, and I actually do not want Top Esports doing it again.
They just don't lose anything. He literally had package and he was searching for it. He could just package straight out. He was the only person in arm's reach. Maybe you don't have that, extra bit of vision. Maybe there's a deep ward from RNG where Langx can find that flank. That's a good concern. But I think in that situation, it's good to search for it. I don't think they'll do it again, to your point. But now we know. I think we've slowed the game down to a certain extent where now Knight and 369 can get back to picking up those waves. Titanic, as you've mentioned, been the pick out with a Kindle gem there for 369, so he can certainly be that frontliner for top.
And Zeal just picked up there by Knight as well. So third item, Corki, coming pretty fast here. Now, Top Esports have had a small portion of the gold lead for a while, but well, we'll see what happens because they're still towards Baron. They've cleared out vision while RNG are spotted doing the Dragon.
I'm no longer concerned about the damage here for Top Esports. LokeN now has his Muramana completed. He needs to be able to get to his Blade of Rune King to be completely comfortable, but he's ready for a fight. So, nice to be able to see that the poke is certainly down packed for top.
It's dangerous for someone like Ming if he gets caught out. He's frontlining here. Top Esports around the side of the brush gets caught out. This is what I said. The support is dead. Top Esports, a beautiful pick on the support.
Easy pick, and now we can start playing around that Baron vision. RNG can't let them have it. They're going to be trying to fight for mid lane control. But Top is the one that has now the Aurelia ultimate to force another fight. So they still have an ability to try and get another pick by RNG.
Requires a lot for a 5 versus 4. Back towards the Baron after clearing out the mid wave. Top now put the pressure on, but they want to bait RNG in.
There's still a trinket left on RNG, so I think they should be fine here, but Karsa gets caught.
Depends. XX finds a slow onto Karsa. 369 ampling forward. 5 versus 4, and Karsa's low. This Ezreal starting to really punch him down.
That's the jungler, too.
That's what we're talking about, though. Suddenly, Ezreal can participate. He's no longer just trying to farm up. Now you don't have your jungle available. Certainly, Top is going to be starting Baron buff. RNG just can't stop them.
You said the Scryer's Bloom has to be used here in the back of the Baron pit. They don't spot out Top Esports. It's cleared. Baron begins.
And they know that there is no more blue trinkets available. RNG has to be using their face if they want to get in there.
They'll see Knight around the side, but here comes the True Shot Barrage over to Ming, who's finally respawned.
I think this is too much for Top. They should just be going for the objective. Right now, RNG doesn't respect their take. They've already used all their blue trinkets. They don't have their support for the fight, and Karsa was incredibly low. There's nothing you should be concerned about. If they end up coming and face-checking, you take that kill.
I actually think that Top Esports backing out here is fine, just because they didn't have the Sejuani ultimate in that one, and frankly, they did get enough of a lead in terms of getting the kills and snowballing off of that. So I just think that if Top Esports, if I'm looking at my solo lanes and I have 120 CS allocated across 2 of these side lanes, I'm still willing to let that grow even further rather than pushing my luck and making it all about this Baron. So I agree with Top Esports' decision here.
What region are we in? Are we LMS or are we like, we can literally
I'm sorry, playoffs is different, okay? Teams in the playoffs, they don't play your regular LPL crazy go in or go home type of style. They do like to slow things down, and this is a logical approach.
You have the Aurelia ultimate. There's literally no reason for you not to be looking for that fight. you have two men.
It's about your highest percentage play. That's what I'm going to say.
That was a pretty high percentage play. I'm not going to.
Okay, we have a difference of
opinion. But to be fair
here.
to your point, like, you could just literally play it slow because you have the Corki Aurelia on side lane. So that's a good point, especially you can be cautious. I'm just a little bit worried. I hope that's not a trend for this series.
But now this changes with the package, right? So if you want to... I like that we have difference of opinion here because especially in this game one where it is so fickle of a play that could change the entire game like this. Like XX getting caught out. That's into the quickness from Ming. He'll find the time catch. XX flashes out, but he doesn't survive as Ben gets healed. The Cataclysm comes on down, and RNG have got two big picks on the men. 369 is here, but will they re-engage? As RNG find one, there's the Vanguard's edge. Karsa's out. The teleport finding its mark on the way in. Blade Caller out as well.
They want to find the jungler.
Knight has package, but can he get the poke down before he goes in?
It's a really smart move from Karsa. First thing he does is walk out and be ready to reset. He can come back onto the map before Ben and XX can.
Yeah, I was a little worried there because RNG was pretty healthy off of taking those two picks.
Yeah.
That's when a team starts thinking about, why don't we just go for Baron there? But LokeN comes in. Great teleport there from Knight with package as well, so they can start the challenge. In fact, Karsa had to get out of there.
That was such a good move from Ming on the recon. He predicted that the flash was going to go towards the Devour on Ben, and then he used the quickness plus the battle dance to get in there, got the knockup onto Ben. There was no Devour being used, and they secure the kill onto Sejuani. Very well played, and this is why I'm saying that he is one of the best recons here.
That's why I was saying so fickle of a moment in XX getting caught. RNG get an advantage.
That's what RNG is just such a good team in a deficit, finding ways to come back into a game. And that's what I'm concerned about, is that Top is finding great windows of opportunity to get a huge advantage. But now we're trying to slow it down, play it to their side laners, and in this case, now giving an opportunity to RNG. They do have now full control of the Baron buff. Top Esports needs to get full control through mid, and then start to challenge.
And after that play, Uzi got the double kill. Uzi got the resources once again. Rapid fire cannon with Hex Drinker, and you've got yourself a Mighty Hammer on the side too.
And just take a look at the CS margins. If you're wondering why with a 6-3 kill lead, that the goal lead is heavily there for Top Esports, that's 325 minions being taken by the Corki. 28 minutes into the game. They're off to Baron right now.
Okay, it's another scouting ultimate here from the Ezreal, who'll find RNG, as Baron is still quite healthy, but Xiahu looking for the angle onto Ben. RNG pull off the Baron at 3k. They're looking for the engage. Ming goes into the quickness, looking for the time catch. Once again, they find him. RNG with another big pick, and now with healthy health bars, a 5 versus 4.
What was Ben doing in that position? He'd already burned his flash prior to this engage, and he's the only one walking in from that angle. RNG get the perfect team fight pick that they're looking for.
Him, much like me, I thought he would still survive. You know, Grey out the toe, comes back from that CC, and then he would be able to keep up.
Oh, hang on a minute. Ming does the same thing with the rest of the team. Uzi trying to recover it, but XX with a beautiful ultimate. Now it's back to even playing field.
Nice chasing Xiahu. Xiahu's under danger now.
That's a level 16 Corki. Ezreal Arcane shifts forward. Xiahu gets poked down, and this is what Top Esports do best. Starting to punish RNG, and now they're back walking towards the Baron.
Incredibly healthy. No Ming on the field. I don't know how RNG can contest this. They surely have to be starting for Baron now.
Remember, they have the Mountain Dragon, Clement.
And Abyssal Voyage is there for Ben, so they can make this a 5v4 pretty easily. Karsa has stolen a lot of these before,
Gonna be
but
up to Karsa and Uzi. He gets poked down before he even gets close. It does pull them off the Baron, though, as Xiahu comes in with a teleport himself.
Good teleport, but they did put a lot of damage on towards Karsa. Karsa can somehow be involved in the fight. Still has Gargoyle, Stormplate. His ultimate is really all he needs to support Xiahu and Uzi in on a play. It makes a lot of sense that Top Esports would get out of there. But you can see how close this game is, just around these fights alone.
Already, yeah.
So take a look here. I think this is what we missed out in the entire play. The ultimate comes through, and that was how they were able to burst down Ming right from the get-go.
That positioning was so good from Top Esports because Xiahu couldn't make it around the bend. However, they're going to fish for another team fight here at Baron.
Knight was spotted out going over that wall. They know he's a dragon, so they're committing to Baron. RNG in the pit. They take it. They take that window, and Top Esports lose the Baron.
Oh, and that's just the inexperience coming through. That was through a scuttle controlled by Top Esports. So full vision of RNG walking into that pit, but they still can't react to it.
All game long, Top has had that control around Baron. And when they've had those windows, they had fished for fights and not had tried to just start the Baron and gone for it. The one moment that RNG's been able to get that full control, they dive for it with full vision of where Knight was at that play.
Yeah.
Crazy for them to be able to go for it, just to be able to see what we missed out here. That's the replay. Uzi had started it. That was the call. Go straight for it. We had the members. They were, much to the point that we made earlier about Mountain Dragons being pulled for both teams, RNG had the play, had the Mountain Dragon, and had the damage.
They had the vision control. RNG that have dropped the most wards in the summer season. Living up to their name here in game one. They have the Baron in hand. They still don't have the gold lead, but will they find the team fight?
This is really important for RNG because it allows Xiahu to come back in on the flank. He doesn't have to come from the front and walk towards these poking champions on top esports side. Previously, he was completely shut down in the side lanes by the carries for top esports. So this Baron buff is going to change the dynamics of how you start a team fight.
You know, very rarely do we get to see opportunities where a player comes in, an AD carry in this case, and just makes a huge game-winning call. It's usually the support, the jungler. In this case, you saw Uzi just say, what the hell? I have teleport, there's a ward here, let's just go for it. Go straight for the play, and now that's changed the entire direction for the game with RNG coming in for the attack.
We'll be moving towards this bottom lane where Xiahu starts the push, everyone commits, and RNG, 5 members strong now, pull top esports to this bottom lane inhibitor.
Ooh, Knight doing a lot of damage to Ming, already poking out Karsa and the Rakan, and they defend it.
Yeah, there's not too much happening here simply because RNG don't have a wave that they're also using. Top lane wave is so far away, and it's actually bouncing, pushing way towards RNG side of the map, and mid lane is still needs to take the outer turret down. Yeah. So, it's RNG just getting ahead of themselves. Try for the outer turret mid lane, get the control in both sides of the jungle, and then make your decision.
To at least get the gold back to an even state, or at least an advantage for what feels like the first time in this game. Xiahu moves against the Corki, who is still almost 100 CS down. And at this point, still able to hold off against him.
And this is the RNG dream. They hyper-feed Uzi, give him all the resources, and he's already very close to being full items. During these team fights, if you don't kill Uzi at the start of the fight, he will mop up the entirety of your team.
Very on brand, isn't it?
It doesn't matter about the gold lead right now because it's far more efficient with the item stacking on Uzi.
Yeah, coming into the series, we did talk about how quick he ends up farming up. But take a look at this.
Oh, that might be a pick again onto Ming. Goes into the quickness to get himself out. Teleport going into the minion waivers. Uzi ults on the backside. A flash immediately burned from the Renekton as Langxing's getting chased out.
Yeah, you have to be worried about the utility here. So great to be able to see Langxing just get out of there because LokeN was going to pile up that constant slow. The rest of the team would have been able to catch up, but good catch coming in from top esports to be able to get crucial summoners in the side.
And because of that pick, the Baron play is slowed down. It's stopped 10 seconds till it expires. Top esports getting those key summoners has stopped RNG.
Well, the summoner I'm talking about is the teleport from Langxing now, so he can't even...
Oh, wow. No! Oh my god, LokeN, is he dead? He gets eaten up, but no! Burnt by Xiahu, who comes up in the nick of time. Double Cataclysm. Ben called out as well. The Tamken is going to find the same power. Xiahu said go! And go is what RNG did.
He didn't even have a full Spellbinders right there. Just went straight in, and he noticed that there was no magic resistance onto LokeN. LokeN tries to get into the Devour, but that's untargetable. You still take damage.
Who needs a Baron buff when you have the Gunner in the mid lane flashing with that power play? Double turret taken down, Baron in 2 minutes, and this inhibitor now under threat, and an RNG that are ready to go.
That's just crazy. And that's the Xiahu we have seen during the regular season. Someone who just takes full control of the game during the mid-game. And so finally, this Vladimir's online. Rabbit on his death cap, a point that we've been waiting for quite some time. Finally was able to lock it in. Let's just see how it all started.
That was just disgusting to watch. Look at the distance between him and LokeN, and he's still able to get it. LokeN was fully aware of this. He's in front of him, flashes away, and, I'm sorry, but the Devour's not going to save you from that damage tick.
You freeze Crimson Rush when you're, in the channeling of your E.
Yep.
He recognized that, got the full damage down on towards an unexpecting Ezreal. And so that's a nice way to get control of the game.
Look at that item buy. Instant Hex Drinker right there. I'm not falling for the same trick again on LokeN.
Well, at least top esports, look, they're not out of the game after those picks. RNG will find the gold lead, but top esports are hitting this Elder Dragon completely blind.
Let's see. Should be easy here for top. They also have a good getaway scheme. And just so, we all know this, I think Ben found it out in the play, is that, Tom Kench is not going to help you for a Vladimir damage that's come through.
Yeah, he did.
And another thing, too, is that Redemption was coming. But to be fair, even with the Redemption thing, I think that was just way too much damage coming through. I feel like you die anyways. But Ben found that out once again.
Because you underestimate that Vladimir, who's been so far behind of the Corki All game. Flame Horizon pretty much achieved here after this wave. And Knight was big, but Xiahu's still climbing that mountain himself.
It's getting close to a 200 CS difference between RNG and Top Esports. RNG is a funnel comp. They funnel Uzi, but funnel doesn't work when everyone has full items. That's the problem with RNG's type of gold allocation. The later this goes, the more Top Esports is going to slide back in favor.
That's why I think, I think Top should just find themselves in side lanes. Corki needs to go bot lane at all times. Force the Vladimir or the Renekton to match you. Now Baron's in play, and I think that's the real problem for Top, is that with how much damage Xiahu is doing. And honestly, you don't even know where the wards necessarily are from RNG, so they can come in at a flank whenever it needs to be. He has teleport ready. So if I'm Top, yes, you have Elder Dragon, that's going to be great. When it wears off, you don't want to find yourself in a fight where LokeN and Knight can just get bursted like that.
Especially when we have all teleports up and available here for Top Esports. But in front of the Baron now, 5 members strong. They've still got the Elder buff for another minute, so if they fight here...
Xiahu's unspotted. That's the big thing for me.
But the cave comes through. Xiahu now spotted out as Karsa goes on in. The fight is what RNG want to take with Top Esports. A split apart. XX dead before the fight even begins, and Ben dies as well. Top got separated.
And Baron is pretty low and ripe for the pickings. Let's see if there's a nice steal that comes through.
The Baron didn't fully reset. Knight can't steal it, of course not. It's the smite from Karsa and the second Baron of the game from RNG.
Thank you very much, says RNG. We've both been saying this on the analyst desk between me and Raz. Go to your side lanes, Top Esports. You have an accumulated 200 CS lead on that one, but they're just being too afraid of the Baron potential, which I don't think is necessary, because you have both teleports up. You have triple teleports even. They're just too focused and playing towards RNG's win conditions.
My concern here, understanding the situation that they're in, is that you cannot get mid lane control with the Ezreal right here, because the wave clear is going to be there for Xayah Rakan. You got to see what the result ended up being, but RNG should always be able to fight for Baron control, and then Top won't. It'll take a long time for RNG to really respect the split that they had. So that's the real issue. I thought that it was cute for them to look for a steal, but you can already see game is now in favor of RNG like super heavily.
And even though the gold is becoming more irrelevant, those final items are coming across the board, and RNG surely gonna push that up as they get towards the inhibitor turret on the top side.
No, you're talking about the Hex Drinker pickup from LokeN. Good luck. That's a Void Staff now decked out by Xiahu.
Oh boy.
The man is ready to go.
Yeah.
In fact, just send everyone else to the bench. The Vladimir could take them on alone. Let's see what we missed out here. Is that live? Yeah, I think that's live. That's live.
Okay.
And RNG's front line now is not afraid to die. They have the GA completed on the Renekton, Gargoyles plus the Knight's Vow onto Karsa. They're completely fine. All Karsa needs to do is build his Cataclysm and create enough space for Uzi. That's all they really need. I have to say, Top Esports just put too much faith in the Elder Drake and thought that that would carry them through the Baron fight.
And as we take a look at Xiahu in the mid lane, I want to point out as well, I can't see any healing reduction items on the side of Top Esports as well. So that Vladimir, almost unkillable as RNG want to start the fight in the top side. Knight has to disappear as the True Shot Barrage flies through the rest of RNG. Teleport into the backline. Now, RNG have been poked out, but Xiahu joins the fight. This is not good as 369 comes in with the Vanguard's edge onto the back line of Uzi. They want this AD carry, but he's healed up. He's smacked down the Cataclysm in the backside as well. Karsa will happily give his life as Uzi's still alive. He takes down 369. Renekton re-engages. In comes Ming again. Flies through. Top Esports might be able to poke them down, but stop this Xayah, because with the inhibitor now under threat, RNG might continue the fight.
Knight wants this.
Or maybe not. Flash over a wall. Knight comes forward. It's 1 versus 3. He finds Uzi, but now it's up to LokeN and XX. Langx will give his life with this messy turret dive. Xiahu the only one alive.
Xiahu should be able to escape this, but LokeN was the hero on the back half of that one, finding Uzi out with the pick in the middle of the team fight, forcing the flash, forcing him out, and they finally defend their own base. Could have gone a lot worse for them.
I have very rarely seen a Spear of Sojin on an Aurelia with the core mindset getting to the back line. Uzi needed to die for this play to live. And you can see the idea coming through is RNG initially going in for the fight, but then the counter engage coming straight through. The teleport from Aurelia, because she knows I need to be in the thick of things. So finds her way right into the back. The issue is Uzi's incredibly safe. Take a look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah. You can see what Xiaohu's job in that team fight was as well. Hits LokeN in the backline once again, but I'll say it this time, the Hex Drinker looked to save his life.
Yeah, that was very, very close from just being a game end from Top Esports, but this is where LokeN starts to shine. He finds the first Q, he gets a bit of that mojo back to himself, and he's willing to step up against Uzi. That's a big thing right here. You cover the nameplates, and you don't think that's a play you're going to see from LokeN, but he had his carry pants on.
If that W had hit from the Ezreal, that's a dead Xayah in that situation. Of course, ended up dying afterwards, but that changes the entire team fight at the very end. So it's crazy how really slim these margins are in these fights, because Knight and LokeN are really playing out exceptionally well.
And it's only game one, gentlemen. RNG and Top Esports still gold neck and neck at 42 minutes into the game, just about. RNG are trying to find this pick onto top as they position around their potential double Elder.
We finally see the double Flame Horizon being reached from Top Esports. This is the moment that they're building up to.
There are 3 people with Flame Horizons, Clement.
But that being said, RNG still has to worry about is the double Elder Dragon you were talking about. Xiahu's ready to fight for this.
He will be spotted out in that Scrying Gloom when he comes around the corner. Package used by Knight. RNG poked down by him, but that's a 3-man Hema Plague. Xiahu burns them down. They want to take it away. Cataclysm to stop them down. They pick up the Elder. Now RNG want to fight. They get a double knockup with Ming in the backside. And Xiahu has the range over the wall. That's XX dead again as Uzi goes forward. Doesn't get the blade call up, but RNG are low with top wave funneling in.
Yeah, top lane inhibitor is huge, but that was a major gambit from top. They wanted to be able to get that double Elder Dragon and make that case for a fight. Weren't even close to it because of Ming's great engage, pushing them back and allowing Karsa to get the smite.
Once again, Xiahu is in the perfect position to interrupt an objective take from Top Esports. He did it at Baron where he was coming in from the brush. This time, exact same angle, just mirrored across the map. This is the way an experienced team deals with this situation. The gold lead was in Top Esports' favor. They had those big carries, but Xiahu really made the difference with the direction he's taking with these team fights.
Yeah, take a look at this. Even with the package being thrown out, a little harder for Karsa to get involved in the fight, but Xiahu being able to push them back, the Cataclysm in tow as well, Ming also following through. There was a lot to create a real barrier to stop Top Esports from getting close from the Elder Dragon.
I was just noticing there, Xiahu dropped the Hema Plague and had no follow-up damage. Almost did half the health of LokeN and 369.
That's true.
I think I'm more worried about XX. He only took, XX basically took half a rotation and was, I'm done.
That's true. And now, look, Elder's been picked up. You have yourself a Baron that's going to go down like that. RNG have the power to look to finally close out game one.
Yeah, in all intensive purposes, they should win this game. But Top is playing so well in these team fights that they make you believe, really. But with how well RNG is playing this, specifically, in my mind, Xiahu, Ming, and Karsa, the backline of this team is just really flourishing. There's no real challenge to getting those kills.
The gold funnel seesaw has tipped back into RNG's favor. Sure, they may be down 100 CS, but they're full item already. It no longer matters, and I give RNG the edge.
Take a look at this. Uzi does not have sneakers on. This man has so many gold. Yeah, he has a lot of gold
Trinity
on him,
Force.
and it's gone towards the Trinity Force because of just how rich this man really is.
Yeah, he's backing.
Nike's better start building those BF stores right now because sometimes people don't buy shoes.
Great ad placement, Clover. We'll have a look as Knight's actually caught out. That's a cleanse used immediately. RNG want to end the game now, but they'll take the inhibitor, make it a double.
XX, you're going to die to the Vladimir. I don't know how else to say it.
Oh my god.
Like, don't even get close to him. You're not a tank to this, man.
I mean, Xiahu can walk down with the rest of RNG. Small minion wave here that's been cleared out. The flash forward. That's the Hema Plague Knight. Run to the fountain. Can he make it? Oh, he gets burned, but he doesn't die as the re-engage comes through. RNG underneath the Nexus have exposed it. They're now going to hit it away. They'll take game one just like that.
I love the fact that the series is starting off with a bang like that.
An absolute banger.
Because it was dragon stacking from RNG, and then progressively it was getting more desperate from top. You're getting to a position where RNG were finding the necessary picks. RNG found the Baron, moved towards the Elder Dragon. It was a good challenge from Top Esports, but at the end of the day, better players came through. Take a look at the gold chart just right off of this one to show how well Top were doing in the first real 20-30 minutes of the game.
If you haven't seen it before, this is a great introduction to how RNG play the game. They are very much a gold funneling team. They let their side lanes fall behind, and the way they get back into the game is they try to hunt for those team fights. Unfortunately for Top Esports, both Baron fights went over to RNG, and that was a difference maker in this game. The side lane CS advantage did not matter.
A lot of the times for me, what I focus on is the things that a lot of the players don't see, but the coaching staff certainly does. For Top Esports, BSYY is going to be giving them a lot of talking. Because they had so much control really early on in the game. They had chunked out Karsa. They had killed Ming. They had full control of Baron, but they didn't want to go for it. And a lot of the times in the LPL, you just go for it because if they end up getting challenged there, you're pulling more RNG members in. You can get more kills, you can hunt for it, and at the end of the day, RNG is going to respect it and give you the Baron buff. These are the opportunities that Top Esports had, didn't take, and it's crazy because if you think about the history of the organization coming in and taking up Dan Gaming was a team that just go. They just
20 minutes.
20 minutes instantly.
Yeah.
And I believe Cat right now in the Chinese cast is certainly berating them, saying, "What happened, guys? Where's the communicator?"
I actually just disagree with taking the
That's
Baron
fair
buff
enough,
right there.
right?
You know,
Yeah,
you
cool.
go into the team fight with Uzi on hyper-stacking items and a better team fight composition inside the Baron pit against a Vladimir. That sounds like a recipe to disaster for me, no matter what chances you get. I would much prefer them to play a good silence pushing game. And that's something I think
They didn't do that as well.
369 was very flat on. He got caught out once because of the double flank coming in from the 2 teleports on RNG, and he never really went back to it again, and that's my problem with this comp.
Yeah, there were a few windows where there was a Corki in the bot side of the map, and I feel like in those windows, the 3 men in the mid lane didn't play as respectfully as they should have. So if we're just talking about how they played their 1-4s, their 1-3-1s, you're right, it was poorly. At the end of the day, when it came down to that first Baron take by RNG, it was a very creative one, very true. I think that the call from Uzi was instant, and that's really good to see from a team that is only getting better. But from top, they need to take the windows that they have because they're going up against a team that's getting better throughout the playoffs, really evolving with Langx now playing well on weak side. This is a big series now for Top, who's done well in both regular seasons, that they need to have success in the postseason.
At least I see the promise of this series towards that last fight. And what I mean is, in the top side, Top able to challenge RNG. You saw 369 jumping onto Uzi. You saw Knight taking the 1v3. I see a Top here in this series that can challenge the team fights at the Team Fighting Kings RNG.
This series is great because both sides get to showcase their core strengths.
Yeah,
RNG with the initiations and the team fighting, like you're saying about the solo raw power coming in from Knight and 369. You have to remember, 369 actually gave over first blood, but was able to do so strong in that side of the map. Same thing for Corki. That lane was pretty much untouched throughout the entirety of the laning phase, but you still see that gold lead snowballing on the side of Knight.
You know what's really funny? Just thinking about it, because we're talking about how strong some of these champions are. Suddenly, you go into game 2 if you're Top Esports, and what do you do about the Vladimir? Because you know the Vladimir is incredibly good for the side of Langx.
Yeah.
So people were already respecting that, and a lot of the team fights he was able to come in strong. Suddenly, Xiahu is able to perform like that.
Yeah.
And we've had less reasons to just outright ban Vladimir. You know, teams like Damwon just get that religiously. So it's crazy. I think going into game 2, you definitely respect that going into the second phase. So it will change a lot of things going into the pick ban for game 2.
A lot of changes, of course, before we do go to our break and into game 2. There's a thought to be had about that pick outside of Baron, rewinding towards the 20-25 minute mark where Ben was caught out, XX was caught out, and RNG being innovators, Clement.
Yeah, that was a tough situation for Top Esports, and if you rewind on that play, I think the main issue is they don't do a good enough job of tracking Xiahu. Even when Xiahu is right in front of you, LokeN still gets picked off like that. So that's something they need to look and basically make sure that their side lanes are pushed far enough that they can make sure that Xiahu has to stay underneath the tower. That's the main thing for me, and just the inexperience of handling that, having a push top wave, and giving Xiahu that advantage into the river was a big no-no for me.
I saw definitive moments in that series. I love that it came down to a few moments. That was only game number 1, gentlemen. We're going to go to a break, then go to game 2 of RNG and Top Esports semi-final.